With the idea we actually came up with like a while ago, maybe like 5 years ago or something, and it was just like one of our brainstorming sessions, and it just happened to be a really fruitful brainstorming session. We came up with like a ton of stuff that we're actually producing. That's kind of bigger stuff like this, and we have a series called Day 5 that's coming out next year that we're, it all came out of this one session. It was just like really cool. But because this was such a big project, it was always one of those things where, it was going to be our next project. Like we're going to get to it. We're definitely going to get to it, but it'll be the next one, And then we just realized at some point that it was always going to be the next project unless we did something different to make it happen. And that's when we came up with the idea of doing the Indiegogo campaign. Because what was great about that was not just that we got the financial support to actually make the movie, but that everybody who was a backer became our boss, So it's like we had to make the movie. It couldn't be the next thing. It had to be the thing. It had to be the right now thing. Because, people had stepped to the plate, and we had to make sure we didn't play like the Rangers.
And did the project and did the project go through changes once it entered the space of Indiegogo and crowdfunding? How did the project how did the drafts that began with change through this process?
I originally played the Champion of Earth. I think I would have been a great Adam. I'm almost as muscular as Alan Richardson, right? But no. Yeah, the script did go through some changes. I mean, there was stuff that we felt like that we could write in that we were a little bit nervous about writing in before we realized we'd have a budget. We had an orchestra, that played. I thought the score was pretty cool.
And I gotta say, I saw the rough draft first, and I knew I was gonna love this movie because your rough cut was full of like Back to the Future and all these amazing themes. And so I just already knew that this was gonna be a great project. And the score is fantastic, the final score.
Yeah.
Could you speak to the design elements in the film too? Like, I love the design of the suit of power. I mean, definitely reminiscent of Portal, but could you speak to who designed the suit and how that process? And again, did it begin as something in a different direction? Did it move into a new one as you develop a film?
A little bit. I mean, we had a pretty clear vision overall for like the aesthetics of the film from the very beginning. We grew up watching kind of like, the mid-late 70s and early 80s sci-fi films, but also the comedy of that era. So for me, I really wanted to take it and like combine not just kind of like aesthetic, sci-fi aesthetic stuff from then, like, Star Wars and Aliens and all that kind of stuff, but also infuse kind of like to me, that was like the golden era of comedy, like the John Landis, Ivan Reitman, that whole, scene was like, that's my jam, comedy-wise. So that's kind of where we started, and then we're video game guys. I mean, that's kind of like just our in our nature. So we thought we'll modernize that feeling a little bit, draw on some references that we like from the video game world, but infuse it with this kind of hopefully classic 70s sci-fi feeling as well.
And are you a fan of the movie Laser Blast?
People ask me at every single screening if I've seen another movie with the word laser in it, and I haven't. Usually afterwards, somebody asks me to, like a mom or something will ask me, did you get the idea from laser tag? And, and I do love laser tag, but it wasn't.
Laser Blast is just a movie where a guy puts on an arm that's an alien arm that he finds and starts blowing stuff up. You made the better version, so thank you for that.
Well, thanks.
It was a movie that always disappointed me at the video store. I'd be so excited to watch Laser Blast and be like, other than the animation beginning, not so hot. All right, we got questions. 1 to 10, how serious?
Well, that's not a question for me, that's a question for all of you. How serious are we about Lazer Team 2? Well, we should probably release this one first, and then we will get to, I had a blast making this, so I'd love to make another one.
Speaking of release, those who contributed to Indiegogo are definitely going to be able to see this, but after the festival run, how are people going to see this film?
I will have an announcement about that this month.
Excellent. All right, guys, get excited for that. Right over there. Let's go you first in the white, and then we'll go down. Challenges making the film.
The most challenging part was Bernie. Lazy.
Did he do his own stunts?
Actually, I do have to say, everybody We had a great stunt team, like pro stunt team, like really good. They had done a ton of like huge movies, and every time they would start talking about a movie they had done, it was like, oh, that's a much bigger movie than this. But Michael and Bernie and Gab and Colton all also did a lot of their own stunts. And there was one, like the biggest one for Bernie that he did. I don't know if you could tell just by look. Yeah, sometimes you can tell like what's a big stunt, what's not, like how it ends up in the film. But when he falls on the truck, you know, that part in the, like after the cabin blows up, he fell like 12 feet, like onto metal. You know, it was like a serious stunt. We had to do all this prep work with the suspension of the truck to make it give just a certain amount so that he didn't like break his arm. And our stunt coordinator had this saying about doing stunts that I thought was really helpful, which was anybody can do it once. Right? You gotta make sure you can get up and do it a second time. So that stunt with Bernie was the literal last thing we shot. Because I wasn't sure we'd get it twice.
Could have been a memorial that our dedication at the end of the film. All right, right over there.
Yeah.
The question was about where the inspiration for the warp race came from.
That's kind of what I look like in the morning after a bender. I wake up and, you know, it kind of just like the same thing, you know, before I was talking about the, like, just amalgamation of, you know, cool sci-fi references that we love. Definitely a lot of Star Trek in the bad guys in this movie. So I think, you know, you can see definitely Klingon elements kind of like in their gear and other stuff. And we've used a couple other things from
Kind of looks like a furless Kilrathi or something like that.
Yeah.
That was the vibe I got.
I couldn't help noticing him. Cameo by Ed Robertson by Bare Naked Ladies.
Bare Naked Ladies, yeah! Well, we've been really good friends with Ed and, you know, the whole team for a long time. Ed has been in Red vs. Blue, which is another show that we make for like 10 years. And we've done a lot of work with them over the years. I've directed like 3 or 4 music videos for them. So I knew when like we were setting out to do this, that like they had to be a part of it. Was really excited to have them work on it. They obviously did the song, the theme song, Lazer Team. It's not a dream. Most important battle that the planet has seen. Remember those words. So I was super jazzed about that. And then at Ed, we had time to shoot that cameo with him. It was funny, like in one of the early kind of like edits of the movie, I had Ed on screen doing the reporter bit, and he's also singing in the background in the song. I'm like, I should maybe change this. Maybe too much Robertson for one moment.
At the back, very back.
In terms of like post, what kind of software did you use
You're
for
not-
editing visual effects?
For creating the visual effects?
Yeah, editing software and the effects. What did you guys use?
Editing, we ended up using Premiere, Adobe Premiere, and visual effects was all over the place. I mean, there was like, you know, probably, I don't know, there's like 100 people who worked on the visual effects. So, you know, Maya, 3D Studio Max, Nuke,
Whatever worked.
After Effects, yeah.
Yes, there was one right there. Yep. You?
First, Matt, thanks for giving me the Lazer Team cup before the movie.
You deserved it.
I did, thank you.
I hope you got one of those big, crazy soda machine sodas in there. I love the soda machines here. Those are awesome.
They don't have them down in Texas yet?
There's like one.
Oh.
My question is, if you had to be stuck with one of the pieces of the power armor for the rest of your life, which would you choose, and which would you hate to have the most?
I would want the laser cod piece.
That can be in the sequel?
I think that would be good.
Wow, is Woody ever going to eat?
Find out in Lazer Team 2.
Right there?
Oh man, what was my favorite scene of film? Oh gosh, that's a good one too. What did you say? The one where, yeah, the one where Bernie almost died. No, actually, I liked any scene where it was like there was not action to film. I mean, I loved filming the action. Don't get me wrong, and that was great. But the thing that was hard about making this movie is we only had 40 days to do it, and also anything that was inside because it was freaking cold. But we only had 40 days to do it, and normally with this many stunts and everything, it'd be like an 80-day shoot. So what we had to do was we would film for like, 6, 7, 8 hours doing stunts and stuff, and then I would have to say, all right guys, time to do the acting part, and then we would film for another 6, 7, 8 hours doing all the dialogue. So on days where it was like a big stunt day, you were like exhausted before you even got to the talking. So I like the days that were kind of chill. There weren't too many of them.
What was the experience just directing the comedy scenes in terms of rhythm, working with actors that you're both familiar with and those that you weren't? I'm just wondering about your process on set.
So one of the reasons we cast Colton, who plays Herman in the movie, is like I love his acting. I think he's really hilarious, but he's also a great writer. Writes for Key and Peele and a bunch of other great shows. And what we would do like beforehand is we would kind of like huddle up together and just do like a little like pseudo improv, like run the scene, but also figure out like where can we punch stuff up. And that was great. And we would always find like little extra jokes we could add in. And then, so we'd do a couple passes like that, and then we might throw in even, a couple other wacky things. So it was fun. I mean, the more time you have to work on comedy, usually the better, because like the more takes you can do are great. And these guys, like, we didn't have a lot of time, so I thought they did awesome, like really hitting the mark on, only being able to do 1 or 2 takes.
Technically, what was the biggest challenge?
Probably the final battle scene was the hardest technically because we couldn't have the cop car on the field, which you see in the movie. So that took a lot of like figuring out. There were so many elements to that, and the battle it's so long. It's like 20 minutes of runtime, like in one location. So making sure you have every single shot, because when you're like we were filming on that football field, there's nothing there. You know what I mean? It's like, so like your geography and everything, like you don't have like the normal kind of like guideposts. So filming a scene to work from, you just kind of have to like figure it out, and it gets kind of confusing with all the layers of visual effects and everything. So what I did for that scene was I made it beforehand, and I stole some of our animators who work at Rooster Teeth that are normally animated shows. We have a couple of animated shows, Red vs. Blue and Ruby, and I just stole them for like a month and said, make this movie for me before I go make the movie so I don't fuck it up.
Right there. I'll get you in. The question was about whether or not they cut Rooster Teeth jokes because you were worried that maybe they would be too inside baseball.
I don't think so. I can't think of one that we cut. It's an interesting question. No, I find there was a lot of like references that even hardcore fans don't get, and I'm like waiting for people to like notice some things that are in there. So
there was one right behind you that was pointing at you, and then you're the last question. Yep. He counted the dick jokes.
I can tell you this: the MPAA is counted.
All right, thank you so much, Matt. Everyone,
Thank you.
just give it up to Matt. Remember to vote for the film.
Hey, give it up for you guys.